Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and welcome to yet another broadcast. Today, we're going to be talking, as we normally do on a Sunday, about Soul Sunday. We're going to do some inner reflective work. And for those of you who might not have been here before or watching this on the replay for the first time, let me explain how this goes. What we do is the first little while, we do some news, views, and updates on our viewers because we're like an extended family and we care about each other and try to keep up to date. And then we will get on to the main topics. So if you're watching on the replay, it's going to go from 00 to such and such a time, news, views, and updates. And then from this time onwards, the topic of the day. That's so that you will understand. If you don't want the front half when you're on the replay, you can go directly to the topic of the day. Hi there, Jody. And today we're going to be doing some quotes from Maya Angelou. I've always really enjoyed her work, and I thought it would be really a nice day to do some of her quotes. And there are some interesting things about her, which I will tell you when we get into that part of the show. In the meantime, some terms of news, views, and updates. Let me think. I haven't heard any more about Marie's dog. Did you hear any more about that, Jody? I know that there was hi, Kerry. Good to see you, honey. I just didn't see any notes about it anywhere, so I don't know what the story is on that, but I know that she was having a problem. It sounds to me like Lauren's doing really well. She's in hospital still, but I'm hoping that all the news will be good news this coming week. Jody, am I allowed to share your news that you had this week when you decided to stand on the scale or roll onto the scale, however you did it? I'm not sure how you did it, but because I think that's incredible. And Jody has been really being careful about what she's been eating lately. And this is, remember, over the Christmas period. When was the last time you actually weighed yourself, Jody, just so that we get some sort of idea of how long a time this took to happen? Anyway, the good news is that she found out that she lost 40 pounds. That's quite incredible. Hi, Sharon. Good to see you, honey. Big hugs to you and Happy New Year. She stood on a walker, okay, to stabilize herself. Right, fair enough. So I'm just trying to get some sort of idea of how you did that, because it can't be easy, that's for sure. So it's been about 6 months since you last weighed in. I think perhaps that's a good way to do it. But I mean, congratulations. It must feel so good, because if you've lost that much weight, you presumably are losing some of the fluid now. I would, that would be my, do you feel that there's some fluid that you've lost? For those of you who don't know, Jody suffers from something called lymphoderma that causes her whole body to swell up, but she is particularly swollen, almost out of control, almost, in her legs and her, I would say from your belly button down. Would that be fair, Jody, just so that people get an idea? So this isn't a small matter for her. It is huge. And, this lymphoderma was increasing, it was slowly coming higher and higher up her body. Hi, Nyasha. And so the fact that she has lost 40 pounds, it's just a miracle to me. That's incredible. Yeah, from waist level down to her toes. Okay, so that's what I thought. So, you imagine I've had it happen to me. I've had, in my day, it was called elephantitis. And I had that happen to me once when I was in Mozambique, of all places. I'm not quite sure what happened, but the whole of my lower body suddenly ballooned up. And I cannot imagine what that's like, living with that on a daily basis. So well done, Jody. I'm very proud of you. And let's hope that I do as well. Funny enough, I went down to go and collect the groceries today, and I put down a vlog, and it wasn't very happy. And it was strange because I was actually saying that I wasn't feeling very good. And I think I will still put it up because I think it's important for people to know that there are good days and bad days. And so this has been a challenging week for me. The 2 pounds that I lost on the first week, I put back on again. And so now I need to get out. And it was a difficult week for walking this week. We had really nasty weather, high winds and, dangerous weather to be walking in my view. So I didn't do as much walking, and that obviously showed, but I definitely need to get my act together for this week. I haven't had any of his call yet from my doctor to come back and see him about the blood test, but I'm thinking that will happen this week for sure. And then obviously I'll keep you guys up to date. All right. Any news from you, Kerry, that we don't know about? I'm trying to think. If you didn't see it, Christy of Matt and Christy fame, for those of you who remember them, she put up a beautiful new picture of her daughter Sophia and said that I could share it. And it really is the cutest picture. She's growing up so quickly. And I thought that was really lovely. On my side, I got the Christmas tree down. It's not away, but it's down and packed. And then I don't know if ever you've had this happen to you, but I packed the Christmas tree away, and it's not easy to pack away. Got the box secured, which isn't easy to do, and then turn around and realize that the actual stand was still looking at me. And I went, short word, which means I've got to unpack the Christmas tree again and then put the stand in to begin with, and then put everything back again. So it's doable. This takes as long as it takes, right? So any other news? Nyasha, did you manage to get, I saw that you managed to download my virtual mission. And my question to you was, did you manage to find the link for me? And actually, I can show you now that I've got you here. I can actually show you rather than tell you, because I can get it up on mine, as they say. And I want a pointy thing here. All right, so Nyasha, can you see when you open it up, you've got here, you've got a Facebook icon, a Twitter icon, and a mail icon. Do you see them? If you click on the envelope, the mail icon, it'll give you the link. It automatically opens up an email with the link in it. Makes sense? So all you do is just press on that, and it'll actually have the email all set up to tell me. You just have to put DearMamaSal@gmail.com in it, and you're done. That easy. Okay, sometimes it's easier to see it than it is to talk about it. Kerry's saying that she's doing okay, just tired. She hasn't been sleeping soundly. I want to tell you something, Kerry. I've been really struggling with sleep this week. I got up to nearly... I just nuked the page that I wanted. I got up to nearly an average of 7 hours a night sleep, and then suddenly way back down. So I've got to get more disciplined about that again. Sorry, I just need to get that page back, which won't be that difficult. So, okay, so let me know, Nyasha, if that worked for you. If it doesn't, then I'll record it some other way. But it suddenly struck me as you were here that I could just actually show you. All right, so the timestamp Jody is going to be for 10 minutes. And what I wanted to just do is give you a couple of bits of, I wonder if you knew, questions about Maya Angelou. Did you know that she started off as a calypso singer? I didn't know that. Did you? I thought that was quite interesting. And then that, she wrote her first book, which I think was called I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings. She wrote that on a dare. And I didn't know that either. Did you know that she was the first Black cable car conductor? All right. Go figure that one. And she was also the first Black author of nonfiction to write a bestseller. And do you know that she married her third husband 3 times? I didn't know that. So interesting stuff. Yeah, I agree. Jody's saying Maya Angelou, what a wonderful source of inspiration she was and continues to be. I think, she passed back in 2014, I think. But I think she will be well quoted for eternity. You know what I mean? She was such an incredible poet and writer of things. And quite honestly, I will probably come back quite regularly and do more quotes of hers. So I thought the first one that you would all enjoy on this Sunday is, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. How many of you have done an attitude adjustment this week on anything, where you found yourself having a bit of a tood about something and then thought, oh, I'm working on myself this week? I thought it was 2014. Yeah, thanks, Jody, for confirming that. May the 28th. I found myself today, I spoke harshly, not intentionally, but harshly to somebody. And I realized it was because I had a headache and I wasn't feeling very good and all those sort of things. And boy, I had to send a quick text and apologize, because this was like, I was punishing somebody for the way I was feeling. Do any of you ever do that? You're not feeling great and you lose your patience and your tolerance. And so I needed to change my attitude today. She also said that when you know you are of worth, you don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to become rude. You don't have to become vulgar. You just are. And you are like the sky is, as the air is, the same way the water is wet. It doesn't have to protest. How many of you can relate to that? How many of you can relate to that when you're not getting your way, you raise your voice? Oh, Jody's saying, I can easily lose my patience when my pain is out of control. Yeah, I would love, in a way, I wish I could say that, Jody, but in a way, I'm glad I wasn't in that sort of level. I just wasn't feeling too swift. And there was no excuse for it. I just wasn't being tolerant. So Kerry's saying she's been experiencing an attitude all day. I can't pin down why. I've eaten and I've taken medicine for my headache, which is pretty much gone. I'm pleased to hear that for you, Kerry. I'm very bad about taking the medicine, quite honestly. That is part of my problem. I still hang on to this. I can hear my mother saying, don't take pills when you're young. They won't work for you when you get older. And I'm going, I wonder how long you want to wait, Sal. Maybe now is the time you can start taking them. But it's amazing how those ingrained thoughts stay in your mind forever. Hi, Nada, good to see you. And of course, the fact that I opened up the day without any milk for my coffee was really a major, I'm sure. It's no wonder I wasn't firing on all cylinders. It was like, asked me to drink coffee without my latte. And it was just like, no, I don't think so. And then when I went there, I found out they didn't have two things that I wanted on my shopping list. And that also got me up to. No, well, I'm not feeling too swift either, and neither's Kerry, but we're doing the best we can, and that's the important thing, right? And what's wrong with you, Nada? I really just want to keep reminding us all, because it is important. And I talked about this. I'm just going to write it on the board here, because sometimes it's, you got a tummy bug? That's not fun. One of the things that I found really interesting in reading this book on emotional intelligence was the fact that I didn't know it, which goes to show I should read more often. But I didn't know that thoughts, when we have them, or information when we have it, has to travel through our emotional part of our brain before it reaches the rational part of our brain. Which is why you will probably say to yourself, why did I react this way before and then you have to say to somebody, hang on a second, I need time to process. What you need time to process is you need to process out the emotion so you can get rational again. How many of you relate to that? Nyasha, in terms, I'm not going to read what you've said, but I am going to tell you, do not ever wish that sort of thing on anybody. Because life has a very nasty habit of turning those things around. All right? Just because you're angry, don't wish bad things on other people. I really need you to get this. That is your lack of control of your emotion, all right? I understand you're angry and you have every right to be angry, but you don't have every right to wish that on anybody, in my view. And please hear me from a place of love. That is childish. That is not adult behavior. And really, I would hurry up and apologize for that if I were you. Yeah, you see, Jodi's reacting to that as well. So because that actually happened. Yes, it doesn't, the excuse doesn't make it better, Nyasha, right? The excuse does not make it better. So I need you to just understand we all make mistakes, and I've made them myself, but that is the most terrible thing to say to any human being. And you need to apologize. You need to grow a pair and go and apologize for that. All right, so Maya Angelou also said, you can only become truly accomplished at something you love. She said, don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off you. Isn't that beautiful? Um, yeah, Nada's saying she did something not nice when she was a teen, and she did it to her mother. And yes, we do need to apologize and forgive ourselves, absolutely. And, that's teenage behavior. It's not adult behavior. We don't wish bad on other people as adults. No, that's something, it's that's teenage behavior or even younger. All right. This is like everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So how do you cope with that? You keep learning. You're doing a great job, Nyasha. Just you understand that that is childish behavior. That's what I want you to understand. Yeah. And it is cruel of her to say the things that she does to you. I understand that. But hitting her back does not make them better. All right? Yes, Kerry's saying that she knows, a few adults who wish bad and continue to wish bad on people, but it's not what I call adult behavior, right? Yes, I understand that you have a very good reason to be angry. And that's her problem. All right. And it's okay for you to say, ouch, that hurts when you say those things to me. That's okay. That's perfectly all right. That's putting down your boundary. All right. And that's what I would just say is ouch, mom, that really hurts when you say things like that. I need you to know that. And but don't then wish bad on her. All right. That's all that I'm saying. It's not that you can't tell her, ouch, this hurts. And that really is very hurtful when you say these things. I I would keep asking the question, what is it I am doing that makes you so angry that you call me these names? You know, yeah. Yes, she does not have, she doesn't have the right, but she can choose to continue to hurt you for the rest of her life. That unfortunately is a choice that some parents do. Um, but I would really take this as a lesson time each time, which is like, I hear you're very angry at me, and you're calling me names, which is hurtful, but can you tell me what have I done that has made you this angry? Carrie's saying she has people who hate her. In fact, and hate the fact that she's still alive and breathing. But I've accepted the fact that they loathe my existence and I've moved on to a far better place than. Yeah, something though, Carrie, Nyasha's in a difficult position where she is dependent on her parents to a large extent. Yes, I quite agree with Nada. Be the example that you would have her be. In other words, don't talk to her the way she talks to you. Rather, teach her how to talk about these things. All right. And the way that you do that is to, you know, and you need to practice it. And we don't expect you to get this right on day one, but literally to go, I am so sorry that I reacted back. All right. Um, and that was wrong of me because I don't want to hurt you. You are my mother. And so what I would say is just like, I can hear you're really angry at me, um, because you have said some very hurtful things. And I'm sure you know that those things you say hurt. Yeah. the fact that you are dependent on her does not give her the right to insult you. But you might just ask her, but you need to do it very calmly, Nyasha, right? Which is, I just heard what you said to me, and it was very hurtful. Did you mean to hurt me? Is that what you wanted to do? Because you're angry? I just want to check to see if I understand what's happening here, right? Yeah, it's very difficult for you, honey. Well, of course, those things hurt 100%. The difference is Nyasha, and that's what we're all learning, is you haven't quite got control of the emotion yet. All right. You can talk about it to us and then you realize there's a rational, better way to do it, but you get caught up in the emotion. And by the way, you're not the only one. All right. We're all learning to do this better, honey. It's not just you. That's what we're working on this year. Right. That's the whole thing we're working on this year, is how do I control that process in the emotional stage better so that I get to the rational more quickly. I don't hold on to the emotion. Remember, if it's emotional, it's on you. All right? It's how you react to what you see or hear. If it's emotional, it's on you. Right. And that is saying, Sal, I have little control of my thoughts and emotions. It gives me anxiety and anger. Actually, you have every control of those if you choose to. You just have to learn to do it. And, that's another excuse, Nyasha. I'm an emotional person, right? That's another excuse. And the reason I'm saying it like this is that's how I'm talking to myself. And I'm presuming you all want to learn how to do this better. Yeah, Nada. And that's why I decided I was going to spend the year studying it and helping, and then what I wanted to do was to study it and then hopefully bring you, I did a lot of reading to find out that this is basically what they were talking about, because I realized that I am lucky enough to be able to take complex things and then filter them down into a way that hopefully will make sense to people and be easier to understand, rather than have you all read a very intense book or three. So, but the most important thing is you're already doing the first step, Nyasha and Nada and everybody else. You're already doing the first step, because the first step is to make sure that you're self-aware. Is my PO box on my website? Yes, it is. My PO box is, I can actually give it to you. Hang on a second. Uh-oh, wait a minute. I'm trying to find one that doesn't have other information. There you go. I just happened to read some birthday cards. It's on my website, and it is on a tab at the very top of the website, Nada. And it says, contact me. And you'll find this address there. All right. So I just happened to have some great Christmas cards that I was reading. That's why I've still got the envelopes. I didn't want to throw them away. So pleasure, sweetie. And by the way, I just wanted to update you, if you didn't see it, we did do 2 new things on that website this week. We added a resource page. So if ever I talk about anything, a book or a tape or a movie or whatever, we're going to try and put the resource there. And if I forget to do it, please remind me, and I will make sure that we do it. The other thing that we have is, for those of you who of wanting to support me in my journey, my journey. As you know, I'm doing something called my virtual mission. And in order to get fit and to lose the weight to help me with my diabetes, I'm actually I am virtually walking from British Columbia right the way to Calgary. It's a journey of over 600 miles, and I'm going to be crossing the Rockies. And I've done quite well already. I think I've done about 7 miles of it, so I'm on my way. If you have a Fitbit, that's great. However, I do want to warn you that the first little while they'll give you all the bells and whistles, but after that, unless you pay for the upgrade, they're just going to give you very basic information. They've just told me they're cutting my information down. You don't need to have a Fitbit. You can have any pedometer. You can buy a cheap pedometer, or you can. We've all got cell phones, I presume, and most of them have the ability to be able to track your steps. So if you want to do that, you can do it. I'm a great believer that today nobody has the excuse, because we all have a way of tracking it. Your cell phone has one. Yeah, everybody's cell phone has one. And most people today have cell phones, so therefore there is no excuse. So the thing is this, that I actually put my steps in, my total steps in. And because I'm trying to get my total number of steps in a day up, I was doing about 3,000. I'm now trying to keep it at an average of 5,000. And I think I dropped down last week. I let myself down a bit on that one, but the excuses are not important, right? The same as I was saying to Nyasha, I could give you 1,001 excuses, but that's not going to change the reality. You see, the excuses come from this part. Makes sense. The reality is, no excuses. I just didn't do it. I had lots of reasons why. They were excuses. You can march on the spot. Yes, you could do that. I found actually at one point last week, I was behind by about 300 steps. And I literally had a carpet in my bedroom, a rug, and I walked around that rug for 300 steps just to make it up. So there are ways of doing it if you want to. And we will certainly help you get there. Jody, I don't think I've actually put my Fitness Pal in the resource, not my Fitness Pal, my virtual assistant. Did I actually do that? Oh, yes, I did. Sort of. What I'm doing is anybody that is joining and supporting me, I'm putting them in a special page so you can all check on each other. Yeah. So yes, can you all understand this about Nyasha? Nyasha is in a situation where she is dependent on her parents. Her medical condition makes her dependent on her parents, and that is the problem. Nada, you just go to, hang on, I'm going to write it for you. You just go to something called My Virtual Mission, and you set it up. You decide on where you want to start and where you want to finish. Just so you know, it allows all sorts of different things, all right? I'm walking, Lauren's doing it, but she's in a wheelchair, so she's wheeling. Jody, not to be outdone, said, can I do arm rolls? And I said, sure you can. And we actually did some, I checked out some steps. How many arm rolls did it take for so many steps? And I let Jody know. And she's now arm rolling her way on her mission that she's doing. I would recommend that you don't, dog walks, walk the dogs, and just take your smartphone with you and just tell it to start recording those steps. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad it worked for you, Nash. I had a feeling if I could show you, it would probably make more sense to you. It took me the longest time to find it, Nash, so don't feel badly. It's very easy to find on a computer or a laptop. It was very difficult to find, I thought, on a mobile. So anybody has any problems, Nada, you've got DearMamaSal@gmail.com. If you have a problem, just write to me or tell me on the Facebook page or something. And we'll get you set up. All right. So Maya also said, my work is to be honest. My work is to try and think clearly, then have the courage to make sure that what I say is the truth. I so relate to that. I don't know whether the rest of you relate to that, but that was what I realized today. As I was putting down the vlog, there was this voice in my head and said, this is not very positive thinking. And I went, it doesn't matter. You promised the viewers and you promised yourself that if you were going to become a YouTuber, you would tell your truth. And therefore, if you're not feeling, that swift today, it is okay to let them know that. And so, how many of you allow yourself? One of the things, as somebody asked me, I think it was Nada asked me, if self-awareness is the first, what's the next step? Well, let's work on self-awareness for the moment. And I will be, putting down the other steps as we go along. Right, your mission ends on March 31st. My mission ends in 3 years, I think, or something ridiculous. I thank you for that, Nada. To me, it's like one of the things I was reading about this emotional intelligence was, to please be aware that there are no good days and bad days. There are just days. And, a part of our issue is that we judge ourselves so harshly. All right. And so I don't know if any of you relate to this, but I beat up on myself unforgivably. The perfectionist in me wants me to get it all right immediately without giving myself the graciousness of being able to work my way into this new way of eating and understanding. And so, this week when I kept getting these incredible, I was doing fine during the day, and then I'd hit about 12 o'clock and suddenly I would need to have sugar, and I'd feel so terrible because it was like giving up cigarettes again. And it was like, I am addicted to sugar. There's no doubt about it. And, is it the reason I'm feeling the way that I am is because I'm having sugar withdrawals? I don't know. But it's like, I really did not feel good. And I thought I needed to tell you guys that. And not that, it was important to me. It was really important to me to tell you that things weren't necessarily that good. And imagine where I got on the scales and I'd put back the weight that I'd lost. And it was like, oh, that, fine role model I turn out to be. You have sugar withdrawals and you crave Coca-Cola, right? I'm very lucky. I've taken myself off that addiction, I must admit. But I still, I'm addicted to other things, and that's what I found. I'm busy trying to get rid of the things that that I'm addicted to. I need them out of my house. And unfortunately for me, part of the way I get them out of my house is to eat them. So I thought this was a great quote that Maya said. She said, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. How many of you found that to be true? That the more you allow yourself, hi there, Ireland, good to see you. Wow, that's incredible, Ireland. I'm so proud of you. I mean, I know that's not a fun one either. You know something that I understand that I could do that purge of my pantry, but quite honestly, I cannot afford just to throw out 90% of my pantry. You know, that's like I cannot. A lot of people can afford to do that, and I can't. Wow. Yeah, Ireland, I totally, I totally understand how terrifying those demons are. I've been there. So I wish you, you know what I found, Ireland, and I don't know if it will help you, but when I gave up smoking, and I got those really heavy cravings. I had to actually think about it as the devil. And I'd say, devil, I hear you talking, but I refuse to give in. And, it was really strange how that helped me. And I was thinking this week, I need to start doing that with my cravings for sugar and so forth. I need to talk back to them and get a grip, and as difficult as it may be. And I'm glad that you're still listening, Ireland, because, we always enjoy it when you come in and participate. Now, listen to this one. Maya also said, I was told many years ago by my grandmother who raised me, if someone puts you on a road and you don't feel comfortable on it, and you look ahead and you don't like the destination, and you look behind and you don't want to return to that place, step off the road. Um, Yeah, Ireland's saying in terms of withdrawal, he's saying part of me thinks they're real, the demons. A lot of people see the same kind of creatures, like maybe they've come to them at the most vulnerable point. Yeah, I totally agree with you. But the worst is over. Yes, well done. I mean, to go through that. I have somebody that I know, um, somebody that I helped for a while, Ireland, who cold turkeyed herself of heroin. And, I could not believe that she did that without any help whatsoever. She literally cold turkeyed her way out of heroin. And I said to her, that must have been terrifying to do that on your own. So Ned is saying there's a poem I want you to read for us one day, Sal. It's like the devil and the angel thing, but it's a good wolf and a bad wolf. All right, so Jody, that would be great if you could take a note of that. Apparently, good wolf, bad wolf poem. All right, I'll see what I can find. Yes, and if anybody else has got anything that will help people. You see, Nada, Nyasha is saying, I cannot walk the roadway, I cannot see well, but thanks to Sal, I will be marching on the spot using my elliptical at times and doing the arm rolls all in my house. That's exactly right. All right, grab some food there, Ireland. Good to see you. Yeah, so yes, we would love to read that for you. And I know you guys like it when I read poetry, so I will do that with the greatest of pleasure. So Maya also said, I not only have the right to stand up for myself, but I have the responsibility. I can't ask someone else to stand up for me if I won't stand up for myself. And once you stand up for yourself, you'll be surprised that people say, can I be of help? So part of what Maya is saying here is that if we don't understand it is our duty to stand up for ourselves, then that's a major first step. I also understand, though, that many of us were never taught to do that. And many of us were kept, and Nyasha, I think about you in this one, it is easier to keep somebody as a child than let them grow up and help them to grow up. Because as a child, they can control you. As an adult, they might not be able to. And I think we all know people who don't want their children to grow up because they don't want to lose control. They've controlled them for so long, and they just don't want them to grow up and make their own decisions, right or wrong. And she also said success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. How many of you like what you do and like how you do it? It was really interesting to me when I started not to be very well. I knew that I had to let go of a lot of things in my life, but I found it really interesting. Although I gave up doing the daily vlogs, I didn't give up doing the broadcasts. And I found that really interesting. You see, it's what I really wanted to do. That was the part of the work that I really wanted to do. To me, it's like we can let go of certain parts of our lives, but there are other parts of our lives that we will probably never let go of. And I knew that although I was not well, that I didn't want to let go of that part of me that I knew was making a difference. And Yasha, thank you for that. I know that there are an awful lot of people that need help and can't afford it or don't have the facilities where they live, but they do have the ability to listen. Yes, it's funny. You like the drive videos, all right? I want to tell you that little one about the squeaky windshield wipers. Do you know it's had nearly 250,000 views? Nada. It's my most popular. It's scary, really. It's my most popular video. And hi, Beth. It's so quite surprising, isn't it? The little things. So listen to this one and see if you can grab this one in your reality, all right? It says, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, you can do better. Oh, all right. I understand it now, Nana. Yeah. So how many of you understand that we need to be patient? You will remember that the graphic I put up on the thumbnail for today was the difference between wisdom and perfectionism. How many of you struggle between those two? All right. That we think we don't understand that perfectionism isn't wisdom. All right. Perfectionism is us driving ourselves too hard, too fast, too everything. We're expecting too much. That's what perfectionism is. You see, wisdom says that I will do the best I can until I am able to do a little bit better, and then I will do a little bit better. And I will always be taking the next step, but I don't need to get to perfection immediately. Do you all understand? I would not be sitting in front of you if I had not been prepared to fail miserably at being a YouTuber. Does that make sense? I had to fail things like editing. I had to fail, making typographical mistakes. I had to learn how to deal with haters that you cannot imagine the nasty things they've been saying about me. But it's like if I want to be a YouTuber, it's part of the game. And therefore I have to learn. Can someone strive to be perfect in their own eyes? Does that even make sense? Yes, it does. You see, I think excellent is good enough, Beth. And I have to tell you that I have stopped aiming for perfection because that is too unrealistic. And what it isn't even rational. If you talk to any rational person, right? If you talk to a rational person, they will not be trying for perfection. They'll be trying for excellent. They will be doing the best they can, not perfection. And that is a difference. And so Maya also said, you alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. How about that, Beth? You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody. And we spend so much of our lives, all right, trying to win the love of others, when really the person that we need to win the love of is ourselves. How many of you, go to bed at night and actually say, I did well today. I'm proud of myself. And because that's really important. I mean, when I go to bed at night, I jot down a few things about what I've achieved and what I haven't achieved, what I want to achieve. But what I really look at is, did I do my best today? Even though I was talking to Jody yesterday, and I'd been up for 3 hours or something and doing stuff. And I realized I had been doing stuff, lots of stuff, but I had not done one thing on the list that I had wanted to do. Do any of you get into that trap where I wasn't focused on the list of what I was meant to do? I was focused on what I wanted to do. Do any of you relate to that? Now, there's nothing wrong with doing what you want to do, but it's not going to help me finish the things that I have to finish. Beth, the reason I wanted you to get a watch that told you how many steps you did is because I wanted you to see just how, I want to say insane. I just wanted you to see how busy you are. All right? You never stop. You don't sit down and rest. And I am so glad that you saw that for yourself, because I have been trying to tell you that for months. But I thought if you had a fitness watch, you would see. You would see for yourself that this is, that's an unbelievable. Also, you'll be able to discuss it with your doctor. I've noticed that I am doing this much. So, the funny thing was, Nada, I wasn't procrastinating. I had spent 3 hours pre-prepping and making meals for the week. That wasn't a procrastination. It needed to be done. I just did it ahead of the things that were on my list to do for that day. So Niesha says, I do tell YouTubers on their channel within their comments, I cannot become one. They're great at what they do, and having to read all this hatefulness. Yeah, I know, I don't want it anymore. No, you know something? But Niesha, it's unfortunately, it is part of being a YouTuber. You just, the one thing that I was taught by Benji and Judy, and it was a very important bit of information. The one thing I was taught was ignore them, right? Don't buy into it. Don't try and correct them. Don't try and do whatever. What I do, because I actually use it as a lesson in graciousness. I know this will probably surprise you. When I see a hurtful comment, I actually intentionally go and say, thank you for your input. Have a good day. Right? In other words, I choose not to react. I choose not to get tied up in the emotion. I choose to just go, you have the right to think what you think. I'm going to stay rational. Does that make sense? If I get caught in here, I'm going to argue and call them names and do all sorts of things. But if I stay in rational, I'm going to say, thank you for your input. And I believe everybody has their right to think I'm a raving idiot. That's okay. You're entitled to that opinion. What amazes me, if you think like that about me, why are you even watching the program? Right? Go away. Go find somebody else. It's never made sense to me. I'm here for the people that actually don't feel that way. Listen to this. Hang on a second. Is there an app for that? Do the recordings of the steps like a pedometer does? Yeah, there are lots of apps on your smartphone. Okay, Niasha, just go to your when we finish the broadcast. Just type in fitness tracker, and you'll find that there are all sorts of apps that you can get. The problem women have is that women don't have pockets, therefore we're inclined not to carry our cell phones with us all the time. And that makes it more difficult for women. But if you, like Nada was saying, right, if you intentionally go out to walk, just turn on the app and go for a walk and see how many steps you do. So, yeah, I think that app is, all right, you actually, you earn and you save on more points. Is that right? I should do that. All right, so Beth permanently has her phone, but you is that how you're doing yours, or did you get a watch, Beth? Beth, by the way, can I tell people how many steps you did, Beth? Because that's amazing. If you want to know how busy she is, we just found out. Yeah, Beth, so Beth found out that she did 35,000 steps in a day. How many of you think it's a field day when you do 5,000 or 10,000? Yeah, and she did it just with the apps on her phone. Good girl, I'm proud of you. But you do keep it in your back pocket, all right? So that's important. Well, Niasha, that's why we're here. We're here to help one another learn things. You know, you're learning this. I'm learning how to deal with diabetes with the help of Jody and other viewers. So you understand, this is just what we all do, is we come here and we learn things. We learn things about other people's problems, and we learn to deal with our own. You know, I've always said to people, understand that, you know, we each learn every time we come here. I don't think I've done a broadcast where I haven't come away with some learning for myself. Maya also said, one isn't necessarily born with courage, but one is born with potential. Without courage, we cannot practice any other virtue with consistency. We cannot be kind, true, merciful, generous, or honest. Do you all agree that it does take courage to be kind, true, merciful, generous, and honest? It takes courage to do those things. It will take courage for Niasha to apologize to her mom. All right? But that is the gracious thing to do, and that is the adult thing to do. It doesn't matter, you know, how many times have you heard me say we are only responsible for our behavior, not theirs. When we really get strong on that, we will actually help the other person learn. Yes, Niasha says any day you can get out and exercise, it is great. Yeah, it's so great. Yeah. You know, you're so right, Beth. Beth's saying it's exhausting to do the right thing sometimes, but it gets easier. I hope so. You know, that's the thing I've been telling myself all week. Because here we go back to this, right? When I get stuck in the emotion of what I'm trying to do, I get frustrated because I'm not perfect. When I stay in rational, I go, who would expect you to be perfect in your first week? So only you. I am certain that nobody expects you to be perfect here. They expect you to be trying and taking steps in the right direction. That's rational. Perfectionism is emotional. It's not rational. And so, I look at it and I go, there's a reason that this feels like giving up cigarettes again, because it's the same problem, right? It's the same dealing with my demons of perfectionism. And it's thinking that the habits that I spent a lifetime building, I can suddenly just break them overnight. Well, hello, that's perfectionism. And so that's why I wanted that graphic for the thumbnail today about the difference between wisdom and perfectionism. You see, you can understand it intellectually, but if you don't act upon it, it will stay perfection. Yes, Beth is saying it also can be good to be able to challenge yourself to do better. Some people need a lot to push them in the right direction. Yes, but you know something, that for some people, Beth, pushing themselves becomes the addiction. Do you understand? Pushing themselves becomes the addiction. They don't feel that they're doing enough unless they're pushing themselves, which is not balance. That is an addiction. It's like a workaholic. Well, I need to work long hours because that's my way of looking after the family. Well, that's how they lose the family, right? And so, the pushing becomes the addiction. And so I think, yes, you get a high from it. That's right. It's like a drug to you. It's like a drug. I totally understand that, Beth. It's where you get your jollies from achievement. It's the same way as I challenged you to, sometime, just stop and talk to Charles eyeball to eyeball. Don't just talk to him as you're passing him by. Actually stop and look him in the face and say, let me hear you, right? When he's talking to you, stop and look at him, because I can imagine what you do. Well, can I do alcohol, addiction help topics? Yeah, absolutely. I think I do them every week. Nada. Well, absolutely, Beth. And you see, that's why the first thing about emotional intelligence is to be self aware. Listen to what Beth says. She said, it's like I don't need a physical pat on the back. I think it stems from my childhood history. Absolutely. You were constantly trying to do better to please your mother, who was capable of telling you you were good enough as you were, right? You were constantly trying to get her to give you love, and it was a losing battle. And you kept thinking more, 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 more. Some of us, Beth, some of us did that in our marriages. All right. So I totally get it. I am not criticizing you for it. I totally get it. And I totally understand why it becomes like a drug. Nyasha's saying, okay, this is why I haven't been using the elliptical due to not being able to use the recording meter. It's so hard to put the battery in. Never did know there's an app that tracks the steps we take. Well, there you are. You now know that there is one. The other thing is, I am certain somebody could help you with that, your elliptical. Again, I would, everything keeps telling me, Nyasha, you need to get to church where you can find people to help you. If your parents aren't helping you do things like that you want to do, then you need to get around some people that will gratefully do so, happily help you. You just need a few new friends in your life, Nyasha. And some people go to church to find them, and I think God's okay with that. But she isn't a youth, Nada. She's in her 30s. Right, Nyasha? You're 30 something, I believe. Right? She isn't a child or a young person. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I keep saying that really, I would love to see her get to a church or something. All right, so Beth's saying, I actually look at myself and smile because it's like a game and I won. Because I achieved what I wanted. Even if I know I need to rest and that I should be, and that should be my ultimate goal in life, is just to be me and enjoy rest. Yes, you will know that you have grown when you can give yourself permission to do that. Unfortunately, Beth, I pray that life doesn't make you do it before you wake up. It's like I could have chosen to give up sugars a long time ago, but I didn't, and now life is insisting that I do. You understand? So life gives you a solid wake up call. If you're living in some sort of Disneyland over here, the rational will hit you with a 2x4. No wonder your feet and legs swell. My feet and legs swell, Beth, and I don't do what you do. So it could be another reason. So Maya also said, look what you've already come through. Don't deny it. You've already come through some things which are very painful. You've been alive. If you've been alive until you're 35, you've gone through some pain. It cost you something, and you've come through it. So at least look at that and have a sense to look at yourself and say, well, wait a minute. I'm stronger than I thought I was. Beth, I call you our Energizer Bunny because I was pretty sure I knew how many steps you were doing a day. You actually surprised me because you're doing even more. But, even in that, you are a role model to us all, that, it's possible to do 35,000 steps. So then you look at it and you go, I look at, Jody and look at the pain that the roller coaster she went through. She had cancer and she took all the treatments for cancer and got rid of cancer and got lymphedema instead. Like, hello, where's the sense in that? But, something tells me that she has learned a lot of lessons coming through that pain. So I think that part of what our journey is to look at things not as good or bad, but just to look at them and say, they are in my life. They might not be in somebody else's life because they'll learn their lessons in a different way. Does that make sense? We each learn our lessons in our own way. It's not like we will all take the same path. Some people can step off the road and, get away from the people that insult them. Other people won't be able to. Some people can do things in a different way. I was horrified because I hadn't really thought about it, and Jody gave me a wake-up call on that one, to think that, not only will the government workers, go without salary, but because of the government shutdown, now people like Jody will be losing out on benefits that won't arrive ready for next month. For those people who are incapacitated, they will not be able to get their benefit checks. How many of you think that that is disgusting? And it's like, that should be an essential service in my view. Yes, Jody is a very strong individual. And, but all of you are. That's what the point that I want to make. I want you to see that you are all very strong people in your own right. We all have our cross to bear. You know what I mean? We all are traveling our own journey. And that's what I want you to see. We're not in competition with one another. I'm not trying to do 35,000 steps a day, right? But I will listen to Beth and I will watch what she's up to, because Beth has the ability and the strength to do 35,000 steps a day. So something in what she's doing is right. All right. Now, Jodie's doing something right because she dropped 40 pounds and is unable to exercise. Go figure that one. So that's a real, I mean, if she'd been out exercising every day and lost 40 pounds, we'd be impressed. But she has not been able to do that. She's basically bedridden. And so, each person here contributes to the knowledge base in a different way because we're all living different lives. But I do believe each and every one of us here is strong. Why? We're prepared to look at the problem. Look at that. Beth is saying because she walks so much now, she has to eat 3,000 calories a day or else she'll lose weight. Yeah, bring me that problem. Beth, do you want to hear something strange? I'm having to eat more calories to be able to get the balance of carbs. And I've had to let go of my perfectionism about the calories and go, it's more important that I balance the carbs. Even if I don't get this right in the short term, I need to be concentrating on carbs, not calories. And by the way, I got almond milk this week. It does not do well in my latte making machine. So what I've decided, maybe I'll cut it with 2%, and see if I can get the foam right. Because I was quite surprised the difference between 2% milk and almond milk. The carbs in 2% milk is about 11%. The carbs in almond milk is basically zilch. So obviously, yes, that's what I got, the Almond Breeze almond milk. Yeah. So, but here's the thing. It doesn't foam up in my machine. Yes, I'm going to mix it either with milk powder or with 2% milk. I think I might this week just try it with 2% milk, 50-50 cut. And then I'm going to go back to getting some milk powder and maybe cut those two together because that might be the best of both worlds. Because skim milk powder really foams well. That's what I love about it. And what she feels about the world today, she said, I feel very hopeful, very expectant, and I'm looking forward to it. How many of you are looking forward to the rest of your life? How many of you are looking forward to tomorrow? How many of you are looking forward and feel excited about what the world can bring to you? Not what it hasn't brought to you or what it has brought to you, but what we can achieve. We need not be in denial about what we haven't done, what we've come through. It will help us if we all do that, all right? We need not be in denial about what we've done, what we've come through. It will help us. You understand, everything you've been through in your life has been there to teach you a lesson. And this is the amazing piece of wisdom that I found, that everything I've been through has brought me here, talking to you today, all right? I would not be here if I hadn't lived the life that I'd lived. If I didn't have the ups and downs that I've had, I could, why would I be sitting here? Why would you even bother to listen? I don't know. So you see, I look at my life and go, I live the life I live so that I can help others. If I didn't understand addiction, if I didn't understand perfectionism, if I didn't understand pushing myself to the limit, how could I possibly help anybody? And I always have said that to professionals. I've been to a lot of professionals in my life, and they're busy telling me this, that, and the other. And you know what I say to a lot of them? That sounds to me like you read it in a book. It doesn't sound to me like you've actually been on that journey. Am I correct in that? And they don't like that. Because what I have found, if I want to have help with something, I get more help in lots of ways from people who've done that journey than I do from the professionals. Why? Because the professionals only know about it from an academic point. They do not understand the demons that Ireland was talking about. They do not understand the perfectionism that Beth talks about. They don't understand those things because they haven't lived it. That's not their journey, but it is ours. You see, Beth says, my next goal is to listen to my husband and to look him in the eyes. Save the hardest for when I'm strong enough. I'm ready. Yeah, I want to tell you that makes me cry, as you could see. It makes me cry because I think it will be such a shock to him. He'll be going, what's wrong? But, don't overdo it. Just, try one here and there. Just start practicing on it. All right, so Nada's saying, same, if I didn't have a crazy childhood, you may never have found me. Oh, that's so cute. Thank you, Nada. Yes, we finished, Jenny. We finished on December. We did it in December. And it finished at the end of December. But nice to see you then. Yeah, I have this sort of vision of Charles going, what's wrong? Well, what happened? What aren't you telling me? And Maya said that my wish for you is that you continue to be who you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. How about that? Nyasha, hear that, all right? Continue to be who you are and how you are, and to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. That says, let's ignore what they're doing. Let us be responsible. Let us stay in our rational place and go, let go of this emotion and go, I'm only responsible for my behavior. Let me act in a rational, kind, giving way. And let me have character, like me today. All right? That I wasn't feeling too well and I was a bit snippy about something, have the good grace to apologize for bad behavior. And the funny thing was that the person that I was snippy with was Yvonne. And when I texted her and said, hey, I'm so sorry, she said to me, I totally understood where you were coming from. Yvonne has the same migraine problems, and she also has diabetes. So she understands that brain fog and not feeling like you're in this world. But that doesn't make it right. Do you understand that? I know that I can have the excuse, but the excuse doesn't make it right. The excuse is what it is, an excuse for bad behavior. And I am really working on that this year, and I'm hoping we all will work on that this year. Wow. And Yesha's saying she knew about the channel from Judy's vlog, but never really subscribed until recently. I realized my emotions were so overwhelming me. Yes, absolutely. Did I attend the 24-hour broadcast? Yes, I did. And I was up all 24 hours. Jenny? I did not sleep for about 36 to 40 hours. Yes, and you will, Nyasha. This is the incredible thing. That's why we're doing this year. We're all going to learn to control this part, but understand every thought you have has to travel through your emotion before it gets to rational. Our work this year is to increase our emotional intelligence. That's what we're doing. All right? And being rational is not easy, and it's far easier to be a 3-year-old having a temper tantrum. I want to tell you, I know. Wow, that's interesting. Ned is saying, I watched your videos for months, I think maybe a year, and cast before I started chatting. Yeah, you're not the only one, Nada. I hear that from all sorts of people. Yes, the December broadcast was in December. That's why we always do it in December. So I'm sorry you missed it, but it was great fun. We really enjoyed it. If a human being dreams great dreams, dares to love somebody, if a human being dares to be Martin Luther King, or Mahatma Gandhi, or even Mother Teresa, or Malcolm X, if a human being dares to be bigger than the condition into which she or he was born, it means so can you. And so you can try to stretch yourself so that you can internalize. I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. That's one thing I am learning. Aloha, Jessica. Good to see you, and fond memories of being in Hawaii last year. Well, I want to tell you something, Nyasha. It is really important that you understand this is a slow, we keep building on this, all right? You are not going to go from being a child without using your rational side into being a totally rational person in a week. That's perfectionism. This is going to take step by step by step. Little baby steps is what we're taking. Oh, that's interesting. Ned is saying it was the wonderful people in chat that I wanted to be part of and support and get support. Yes, Nada, and that's exactly why we're here. You know, I knew that I could not be the only person in the world that had been through this sort of journey or needed to go through this journey. I just knew somewhere that there was a place here on the internet for people who wanted to, to learn, right? And I know some people said to me, oh, but you need to be, do a more entertaining, type broadcast, you get more viewers, da, da, da. So it's not why I'm here. I'm not here to have a very entertaining broadcast. I'm here to help people. That's, you understand the difference of that. It is so easy. It is so easy to just be flippant and, do fun things and so forth. But that's not what I came to do. I came because I really believed that we needed to teach people some of these things, to be able to show them, hang on, you get caught up in the emotion all the time. And that's where your anxiety is, all right? That's where your stress is. That's when your anxiety is. That's where all those negative things are. They're sitting in your emotion. Because when you're working from your rational, you are much kinder to yourself, much kinder to yourself. You don't expect as much. Well, Nadi, you got to interact with me whether you wanted to or not. All right. All right. So very good question, Nyasha. Nyasha's asking, how do I get so emotional? All right. How did I get here is what she's asking. Do individuals naturally have those coping skills or are they taught? Well, that's the best question you have asked me yet. And you've asked me some good ones. But let me ask the viewers, are coping skills something that we get born with or do we learn them if we're lucky? Are they things that if we're lucky, we get taught? What do you think? Or did you come out of the womb knowing how to cope with stress? Did you come out of the womb knowing how to deal with haters? Did you come out of the womb knowing how to deal with triggers? It's a learned behavior, and behaviors can change, says Beth. All right, I want to tell you something. A coping mechanism, I believe, is taught. And if you've never been taught, do not beat up on yourself for not having them. That would be so unfair. You understand? That would be cruel to beat up on yourself for not having been taught something that you could have been taught. I was angry Nyasha, when I realized that I didn't have some coping skills and I had made it all the way to adulthood, covering up, Beth will tell you, she understands this one, covering up all sorts of things because, I didn't know how to cope with these things. So I just covered them up. It was much easier. I just pressed them down, pressed them down. Of course, I ended up with depression because all my anger turned inwards, and then that's how I got depressed. So now you look at it and you go, no, coping skills, I believe, are taught. And that's what we do here. And we try and find step by step different ways to help different people. And that's the other thing, Nyasha. I don't believe there is one way to do these things. I believe that each of us will find our own path. The path that Beth finds to help her with her issues will be different from the ones that you will find with yours, because your situation is different. I learn a lot from listening and talking to Jody, because she is limited in what she can do. But now I know for a fact, don't tell me that I cannot lose weight because I am bedridden, because Jody just lost 40 pounds being bedridden. Like, hello, that is possible to do. So I have no excuse because I am capable of getting outside. Makes sense? So I do need to go now and cook dinner. Well, finish cooking it because it's been cooking and it does smell good. But what I wanted you to do is to remember that you can make a difference in the world, but you certainly start by making a difference to yourself. Wow. Beth, I would love to quote you on that, but I would like to have your permission. Okay, listen to this. Beth said, "That's why I'm cold to my husband. I can't even accept a compliment without changing the subject, because I can't deal with having the pure joy feeling." And that's why I want you just to stop and look him in the eyes every now and then, Beth. I want you to learn intimacy. I want you to learn that in so many ways, he is more important than doing things for everybody else, because he's part of your life. And he chose to share your life. And so part of me goes, I totally believe you, Beth. I don't know how to deal with the positive emotions. I just know how to deal with the negative ones. Nyasha's saying, Sal, I think you should write a book with all these skills and coping strategies. Nyasha, what makes you think I haven't? So, um, yes, and so right, Beth says, but it was learned behavior. I can change that behavior and feel what I want to show him. I don't have to have a cold black heart. You will never have a cold black heart, Beth. You covered up your very cute, pink, warm, beating heart a long time ago because you thought it was childish. I want to tell you something. I assure you, you can't cover it. You haven't been able to cover it from Jody or myself or for any of the other viewers. We all know that you've got a big heart. We all know you're a really kind, generous person. We all know that you do more for others than you ever do for yourself. So you didn't cover that black heart of yours very well, or you didn't, you didn't tell the lie very well, did you? Why do you think, now Beth, hang on 1 second before I go. Why do you think I invested so much time in you, Beth? Because I have. I've challenged you and pushed you and done all sorts of things. Yeah, why do you think I ever spent the time doing that? Because I don't think you're worth it. Because I don't think you're capable of getting it. Or maybe because I know you deserve it more than most, Beth. I've really got to tell you that. I honestly believe that you deserve that joy and that feeling of love more than anybody that I know at the moment, because we all deserve that feeling, honey. And some of us don't get it from our parents, and some of us don't get it from our husbands, but some of us do get it. All right? Some of us learn to find new friends, to find new people that become our parents rather than the ones, I've always said, we get to make friends. They're our chosen family. And so from that point of view, I want you to know, Beth, that I would not have spent the time that I have challenging you. And I know sometimes you probably roll your eyes at me and wonder what I'm doing. But I do need you to know, Beth, I want nothing more for you than for you to have that feeling. I want nothing more for you than you to be able to sit down, put your feet up, and go, I think I'll read a book today. But I am pretty sure that, that is an almost impossible thing for you. Because even when you rest, you're busy playing a high action, high stress game. There is nothing about relaxation other than maybe holding baby Lily. And I do get a feeling that in that split second, you do get that moment when you get that unconditional love from baby Lily. And that perhaps is the gift that you have this year. If you can't give it to yourself, that the universe has brought you unconditional love in that way. And that's another reason why I probably would start thinking about another dog, because you need that unconditional love, and Peanut's not doing too well. And, maybe that is something you consider, because I would hate for you to be without that unconditional love. So there we go, everybody. We are all very strong people. We are all doing the best we can. Yasha, your struggle is no more different than mine. You understand that? It's just we have different areas that we're struggling in. We all have different restrictions. You've got the problem with family members. We all have problems with family members. They're just different problems. And so when we remember it is ourselves that we deal with, the way to get rid of anxiety, the way we get rid of stress and everything else is we start thinking rationally. And we will continue to do work on that. And I will give you every little bit of help that I can. And I can assure you, I will take every little bit of help that I can, because like you, every day brings me new challenges as well. So let's learn together. I am not sitting on some pedestal better than anybody else. All right. I struggle with my demons every day, same as you guys do. The difference is I'm actually prepared to stand here and sit and talk about them. I do need to go. And Jody, in terms of the question, what are we having? Beef barley stew tonight. And I am about to make some mashed potato to go with it. And I've already cooked the vegetables. I'm just going to warm those up. So it does taste good. I tested it earlier. So everybody, big hugs to you all. Beth, thank you for being so honest. It is your honesty that blows us all away. Hi, Kimmy. Good to see you. I am so glad that it makes some sense to some of you, and that you continue to help others just by being here and being honest, because you will never know how many nutters there are that are listening for 3 years before they ever join in. You will never know that, and you will never know how many people we help just by talking about these stuff openly. So, Ireland, if you're still out there, all the best with your demons, and feel free to write to me directly if I can help in any way. To all of you, keep up the work, because the way we deal with this is just to keep dealing with it and keep learning a little bit more each week. This is DearMamaSal saying, remember to look after one another, but please, 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 take some time to look after yourself, because without you looking after yourself, you cannot help others the way that you need to. This is DearMamaSal sending you all a big hug, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye for now.